Previously, on the career coaching experience, we met New York City-based real estate operations manager Daniella Rinaldo. Daniella introduced herself and provided us with a brief summary of her duties and responsibilities. Daniella also provided some insight professionally and agreed to work with me as an executive career coach for the next 10 weeks. I will guide Daniella on this exciting journey of self-discovery so that she can gain new insights, confidence, and a greater self-awareness to become the master of her own destiny. As a first step in the process, Daniella committed to taking a personality test and 2 career-related tests at her own expense as a first step to find out which career paths match up well with her personality. So I have the results right here. So let's welcome again Daniella back on her journey of self-discovery. Daniella, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great. How was this past week?
This week it went well. I mean, I was mentioning before, I've been kind of, in and out with feeling not so well, but I'm feeling great today. And next Thursday is my birthday, so I'll be seeing you again, which I'm excited.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll have to remember that.
I know.
Well, great. So let's get right to it then. We left off last week with you agreeing to work with me as a coach. That's fantastic for the next 10 weeks. And the big takeaway was finding out a little bit more about who Daniella is and what you want to do. So what we agreed upon is for you to do 3 things. Number 1, execute the agreement, which you did. Thank you very much. Number 2, to agree to take a personality test, a Myers-Briggs like test. And number 3, you agreed to, at your own expense, show the commitment necessary that every coach needs to see to take a couple of career-related testing, like aptitude tests. And I've seen the results. You've seen the results. I'll ask you first, since I want you to do most of the talking. What do you think? What do you think?
Taking the test, you go in and you're thinking, okay, I really know myself and these questions are going to be very easy. But there are times where I'm like, oh my gosh, do I agree? Do I disagree? Am I somewhere in the middle? And it takes a lot of self-reflecting. And then at one point I even thought, like, should I call my mom and ask her? Should I call my friends and ask them? Or should I just do it myself and really see, kind of do that self-discovery on my own? But it can be a little bit challenging. And reading the results, they were interesting, definitely. And I'm actually curious to see what you have to say before I say anything.
Well, one of the things about coaching is we never make judgments. We never prejudge anyone or anything. So it's just a data point. So the one thing I noticed that kind of jumped out at me, and we can go over the career satisfaction scale. It is what it's called. It's an internally generated document that I've put together, which is a list of, I think, 30 questions, and you rate whether or not something's true from a scale of 1 to 5. So some of the 5s really jumped out at me, like, I have frequently wondered and worried about whether I am in the right profession. Okay. Another one that you scored a 5 on. I commonly have thoughts like, where am I heading in my career? Another one, I think my current job does not allow me to utilize many of my natural talents and abilities. So I thought those were interesting because they really point to some of the results that we'll get to in a few minutes on your personality test and your career aptitude test. But so talk a little bit about that. Frequently wondering about, am I in the right position? Am I in the right company? How does that feel?
Yeah. So sometimes I kind of see myself behind a computer and in an office all day, and I don't have windows. And I'm like, I'm accomplishing what I need to accomplish. And if you see my results, I'm very task oriented. And so once I accomplish everything, I'm always willing to do more. I always have that impulse of, okay, what else can I do? But I feel that I've reached my peak, right? Because I'm not the owner. I'm not the investor. And I feel that sometimes I'm the owner because but I also feel that I'm a little bit alone. And the only thing that keeps me really up and running with my position now is that human resources, having that connection with my employees and really building them up.
Yeah,
And I have
yeah,
weekly meetings with them. And one thing I always say, even with hiring, is I look at the positives and the negatives with every single employee. And at the end of the day, we're human beings, right?
right.
So even though this is work, I don't just look at you as an employee and this is how it has to go. And if it doesn't go this way, you're out, and also everyone says, don't bring anything that's going on at home into work. I get that. We all try to do that. But at the end of the day, it's like me, right? Like I can be positive and outgoing. And then there are days where I wake up or something happened the night before and I'm not so happy. You don't always have to be fake, right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah, everything is great. Oh my God, I'm so happy to be at work, right? So sometimes even my previous boss, actually, when I was in real estate, she messaged me and she goes, Danielle, this was so you. I'll never forget. Anytime you walked into the office, you're always so up and going. And then when you walked in with your big sunglasses and your fur jacket in the winter, we all knew, uh-oh, she had a rough morning. And that's being a person.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what really keeps me going with my company, is kind of being there for the employees. And I've had previous bad experiences with not being treated so fairly.
Yeah.
So I appreciate every single personality, and I want everyone to grow within the company. And I always say,
Gotcha.
you can grow within the company, but if you find something better out there that's for you, then let's do it. Let's grow together. So that's what's really keeping me in the company. But with my position myself, there's more. I need to do more. And I'm
Got
kind
it.
of stuck right now.
Got it. Yeah, because also in the same career satisfaction scale, there was another one that you answered a 5, which was very interesting. Somebody close to me has recently told me that I do not seem to be happy when I discuss my work situation. So have you had situations that you have had other people, like maybe Nick or a family member or somebody else in your company, actually, address with you, Daniela, you don't really seem like you're happy with what you're doing or going to work. Have you experienced that at all?
I have. I have a lot more than I want to admit because, well, first, let's start off here. I drive 2 hours to go into the office and then
Oh,
I
wow.
drive 2 hours back. The traffic is crazy. But when I had that motivation to get there, I looked past and beyond all of that. But what I think happened was false promises make you not feel that you're valued, and they make you feel like, oh my gosh, it's a drag now to get to work because what am
Yeah.
I working for? And at this point, yes, even with Nick and everything, he says, it kills me to know that you're driving 4 hours to work and you're accomplishing what you need to accomplish, but you have so much more to offer. And I feel that you are being taken advantage of, and also compensation, right?
That's important too.
It's important, especially important when you were promised, let's just say something like a bonus a year ago and you have yet to receive it. So it's false promises, right? Or when you do everything you need to do to set up a meeting with the upper management and you do everything, but then there's no feedback. And then
Yeah.
2 weeks go by and you're just alone. And so, yeah, it's difficult because I'm going and I'm motivated within myself to not to I would never not want to be there for my employees, but I also now need to be there for myself and see what is going on.
Right. Do you ever get any validation from your owners or investors? Hey, Danielle, that was a great idea. That was we really appreciate what you're doing.
I do.
Oh,
That's
good. Okay.
that's one thing that I really do. I mean, when you don't see your boss or the investors for a month to 2 months and you're running the company on your own, that itself is, wow, I've accomplished a lot, and I've kept to, I said previously, he even asked me in the interview, what would be your goal? Do you think you can run the company even remote if you needed to? And I said, yeah, I think that if I am working remote, whether I'm sipping on a margarita on vacation, the company's still running, because that was my goal, and I've accomplished it.
Right.
So
Yeah. So I'm going to get to the personality results and the other career aptitude test, which is very interesting, which really tracks everything you're saying. This is really good. But before we do that, I'll ask you one more question. So
yeah.
what is it in your current job that you think you could be doing, adding value both externally and making yourself feel better in the process? What are some of those things?
I think that, and not to be negative, but my hands are tied, because I can do so much with the marketing and exposure. And if I had the finances, I think that I can even build my own offices and expand, but my hands are tied, right? So I want to do so much with the marketing and getting out there, but I can't, because I'm not the one paying for it,
Yeah,
right?
it's very
So
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much I can do there. I even used to work with someone who used to do our marketing, where we were on TV. We could have, even at the baseball games, we were able to put our logo, but I'm limited, because it's like, well, why would you pay that when you can do this? And
I got you.
at the end, yeah, it's hard. It's
Yeah. Well, we're going to get into the marketing and the PR, because that ties in with your career aptitude test. But I want to address your personality test. Everyone
yes.
out there, most people have taken this Myers-Briggs test. Like, for instance, it's usually like an ENFJ or an ENTJ or an INTJ. Some of the classics, ENTJ is a very strong personality. The nickname, each one of these 16 personalities have a nickname. So the nickname descriptor of the ENTJ is the commander. Okay. A lot of salespeople are ENTJs. I suspect Nick is probably an ENTJ.
Oh man, yes.
These are people that are very driven. They brush aside rejection. They're sometimes tend to be a little bit impatient, but they get the job done. They are, a lot of your natural leaders and like presidents and captains of business are classic ENTJ. ENTJ. So the E is the extroversion. Okay. For instance, there's a lot of women who are INTJs. So INTJs are very forceful, powerful women, but they're very introverted. So the I stands for introverted. So without going into all that, you scored an ENFJ. Okay. So an ENFJ has a lot of the traits that, a powerful, successful captain of business would have, except instead of the ENTJ, you're ENFJ. So you're more of a feeling type. You have more of a feeling personality. And that really comes through so far in this interview and the interactions that you and I have had. You're a very feeling person. You're very understanding. You're very agreeable. You're empathetic. You like to help people. Sales guy or sales gal is not highly motivated by helping mankind. You know what I mean?
No.
But you are actually. So it's a very interesting trait. And that's why this personality profile, if you read through it, I'll read some of the high points. People with this personality type are devoted altruists. An altruist is somebody who wants to do well for the world. You're involved with charities, helping people. You have a reputation, it says it right here, for helping others improve their lives. Everything you've said so far today has been about helping other employees, right? So you're a helper. You like to, you hurt when they hurt. You feel their pain, so to speak. And you have the ability to guide people to work together in the service of the greater good. So you may not be interested specifically in improving the bottom line of your company, but you're interested in making sure everyone's happy, doing their job, and successful. You're very compassionate, very dedicated, and very caring. So you've got the full report. I'll put the link to this report in the notes so that other people can also take the test for free. It's a free online test. I encourage other people to take the test. It tells you a lot about yourself. So what do you think about those findings? ENFJ, the agreeable person. The
Yeah.
teacher.
Yeah, it's funny because I think that I'm definitely that. I'm very satisfied when I see others grow. And but when I kind of look into my position, I also have the authority to hire and also terminate, right?
Right.
So when I walk in, and even one of my employees, she's like, oh my gosh, when you walk in, sometimes they're like, oh my God, she's here. She's here. She's here. Now we really have to like be, more like in the game. And I always think to myself, why? Why do some of the employees feel that way when I really try to motivate them? And so I feel that, yes, I can be compassionate, and I can definitely be understanding, but
Yeah.
I also have that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I also have that alpha personality.
Yeah.
I may not be a salesperson, right? Because I don't really care to compete with others. Again, it's not competing within myself, but I like to encourage myself. But I don't know. I agree, but I also feel that I'm tough. I'm tough love, but loving
Right. In an empathetic way.
in an empathetic way.
I mean, I hate to keep going back to sales, but your most successful salespeople are extroverted, as you are, okay? But they have empathy. In other words, when you're selling something, and I do a lot of sales training too, it's like you've got to be understanding of the client.
Right.
You have to understand all their needs.
And what's funny, when I did real estate, which it was okay. It was a, okay experience for me. Some clients do not care, right? So they won't give you the time of day. Either you get them what they want, or they're on to the next
Right.
real estate agent or broker. And there were times where I guess I had the experience where I worked so hard and I got them everything that they wanted. And then all of a sudden, they ended up finding a property without telling me. And then another broker was involved, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that was my commission, or that was my, right? They don't care, but I get it because that's the business side of things. So I'm not emotional in that way. I'm not sensitive with that, right?
Do you have a reputation for helping other people? I mean, can you provide any examples of you helping somebody out within your company, even if it may not have been in your own interest?
Yes, there's one employee that I do have weekly meetings with, and every week we go over her goals, and slowly she's been accomplishing it. And she said, there are other opportunities out there, but the one thing that's really keeping me going is you and managing me, but also taking into consideration that I'm not just an employee and a person.
Right.
And she's really doing well. And she's like, the thing that I love is, and she's younger, and she's like, you're not selfish. You're not, let me just hold my employee because she's a great employee, and I don't want her to grow because then I'll lose her. So I'm helping her accomplish her goals, and it's a really good feeling, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, so how does that make you feel when you help someone?
I love it because I feel that I accomplished something within myself. I'm so happy for them, and it's genuine. And I feel that it's very hard to find someone genuine to, right? It's like, when they say, when you're at your lowest, this is when you find out who your truest friends are, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we're here for you. But when you're at your peak and you're shining, who really is there for you? Who is actually congratulating you from within, right? And
well, so I did some independent research to figure out, like, who are some of these other ENFJs? Okay. Oprah Winfrey
I know.
is probably the most famous ENFJ. Same. I mean, if you look at Oprah, so you look at Oprah on her show, what makes her so magnetic like a magnet, she really is like a magnet. People are just drawn to her.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because she's so empathetic. She really and truly cares about people. I mean, you can tell that's no bullshit. I mean, she's authentic. She really does care about people. Another one, former President Obama.
Yeah.
He's a classic example. I mean, you see him out on the campaign trail. I mean, he just exudes that caring. He's got the sleeves rolled up. Now, he is a politician, so maybe it's not as authentic as Oprah. But the thing about you is, I think one of your best qualities that I've just observed from the first time I met you is you are a very authentic person. And that's why people are attracted to you, men and women, because you're authentic. People crave authenticity now because there's so much foolishness and ridiculous stuff, social media. People are focused on the external, not the internal. I mean, you are the real deal. So do you feel like that ability to empathize in a caring way creates more value in what you do and in your job? Does it enable you to make better decisions and provide value in your company?
100%. I think that if I wasn't in my role and someone else who maybe was more of a salesy person and treated everyone more of like an employee and a number,
Yeah.
there would be a new team like every other month,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I wish I could give more to the employees. Again, my hands are tied, but I always get, if it wasn't you, if you weren't our boss, I don't think I would be here.
Right. So let me ask you this then. So given your understanding and empathetic attitude, there is the opportunity and chance for people to take advantage of that. You know what I mean? So my question to you is, given that you're this agreeable, altruistic, caring, empathetic person, do you feel like people follow you? Do you feel like at your office you have the ability to really guide people down the right path?
I do 100%, but I also feel that, and I guess this is where Nick falls into place, where he's like, it's killing me with their position. I don't see you happy because I see you're being taken advantage of, not by your employees who look up to you, but maybe from the higher ups. And I respect everyone, and I do have genuine, I don't know, like a warm heart towards my upper management. I built a great relationship, but I do feel that in some ways when you're not compensated, and I don't only mean like financially and a pat on the back, but when you feel so alone, it's almost as if you are being taken advantage of. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting.
Yeah. Well, these are all very interesting observations. So I'm going to turn the page to the third topic for today, and that is the career aptitude test. Okay. I found this to be absolutely fascinating. And I'm going to pull it up on my screen here so I could go over the results. But so let's see here. Don't worry, Danielle, we can edit this little part out here. I just got to bring up the.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay, we're back. So I'm going to bring up the report. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to try and share this for everyone. So if you look at this, you scored the highest on education, health and medicine, physical, okay, and communications. That those are your high scores. That means that your personality and everything else is in direct alignment with these three careers, okay? There's some other ones here, but like engineering and IT, you're not an engineer. Or you're
No,
not.
no way.
You can see some of the scores, 31 arts and entertainment, which I'm going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that. So you earlier in your career, you were obviously a singer. You trained at Juilliard. You majored as an undergraduate at Fairfield University, but you scored really low here. And I'm wondering if that maybe was one of the reasons why you decided not to, at the end of the day, pursue that career. You know, it's just a thought, you know.
Yeah.
And then if you look at communications, okay, this is really the meat. So communications, what do you think about these positions? Because you've already mentioned something about your existing company. You like to do the marketing, the publicity. I was thinking, social interactions, advertising executive.
Teamwork. I'm definitely a team player, which I actually found interesting with some of the results that or the questions, because there are some things where, yes, I do like to work as a team, but I can also be a perfectionist where I'm thinking if I don't do it my way, I can't, I'm not a team player in that way. I guess I can guide someone and I can be very supportive, but when it comes to my mentality as I need to get things done, sometimes I don't like to be a team player or have it as teamwork. So
Yeah.
I don't, relations management, customer service, not really.
Recruiter.
Recruiter.
I could see you as a recruiter because recruiting is not really as much sales, People think of a recruiter calling people, hey, I got a job for you, but recruiting has a lot to do with being empathetic with people, understanding what they need. So I definitely get that. Public relations specialist, you talked about that, in your own company, doing more public relations and marketing. So
Yes.
So we'll just keep that in mind. So this is more or less like, a profession which involves business communication. So another one is education. There it is again. Your personality profile, ENFJ, teaching. There it is. Again, teaching, professor, teacher, mentoring. So what this tells me, some of the most likely professions would be obviously teaching, conducting research for something, mentoring, instruction. Instruction and mentoring could mean coaching. It's a lot what I do, So you've got that. And then what's even more interesting is when you go to the next highest was health and medicine. Now you may look at this and think health and medicine, but if you look again, it's got training, it's got personal training, okay? It's got yoga instructor and nursing roles, also a doctor. So not that you want to be any of those, okay? But if you look at these now, if you combine all three, do you see any primary themes between those three?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. It's the in a sense, it's what I'm doing now, right? I mean, I have my position, but I'm mentoring all of my employees. I'm training them constantly, and a doctor and to be a nurse, and you have to be caring, right? You should be at least, right?
Exactly right.
So I feel that that's who I am, and I think the way that I am at work, yes, on the business side of things, I'm like this, like loving, caring, and also, like I said, that tough love. But also with my friends and my family, what you see is what you get. I'm not too different,
Right.
but yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I love
I'm
helping
looking at
people.
things like, if you combine training, instruction, personal training, mentoring, teaching, all those sorts of things, it's just something to think about. I just want to get your feeling on that. I mean, what do you think
I think
about
that's,
that? Can you identify with that? Do you think it rings true, or?
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm actually reading right now, the health and medicine mental, it's 52 out of 100 and life coaches over there. Do you think
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So
is
these
that
are
bad
not,
though? That's 52, right?
that's no, I mean, 52 in terms of this is actually passing. Some of the other scores are 31,
I
28,
know.
like IT was like 16 or something.
I
So,
know.
uh, I mean, a life coach, social working, psychiatrist, counseling, they're all right in there. So I'm thinking what we should do for next week, okay, is have you do a few things. Think about something, and again, coaching is doing things that you want to maintain the momentum. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, as I did last week, to do a few things.
Okay.
And if you could just hold on for 1 second, I'm going to get those
Yes.
things right now. Let's see. Okay. Again, we can just edit that little part out. So, all right. So for next week, I'd like you to consider doing 3 more things, as you did 3 things for last week. 1, think of some potential jobs or professions that you would have an interest in, which incorporate those areas listed in the career test section of communications, education, health and medicine, physical. If you want to throw life coaching in there, that's perfectly fine too. So these positions would be, teaching, researching, coaching, training, mentoring, PR, advertising, professorship, instruction, life coaching. So I want you to think of, over the next week, some specific professions or specific jobs that you can
Okay.
see yourself doing that would incorporate these things. Okay. All right. Secondly, what are some specific areas, specifically in teaching, that would be of interest? Conducting your own research and bring next week to address these. So just look at the profession of teaching, and it could be teaching anything, teaching people how to personally train, teaching people how to do IT, teaching people leadership, whatever it is. Think of something that you could actually teach somebody, and it could be in your own company too. Okay. Which leads me to my next one, which is the one area of teaching or instruction that you could immediately incorporate into your existing function within your existing company. Okay. So again, think of one thing that you could do this coming week in your own company that you can incorporate some of these skills that you have naturally, because these are natural born skills: teaching, researching, coaching, training. So I know you're doing some of these, but try and come up with one thing this week, one person maybe, that you could actually try and teach one thing to, and just focus on that. Okay.
Okay.
So those are the 3
That's
things.
interesting.
Yeah. I will send you a follow-up email with these 3 things, and
Thank
then
you.
that'll be what your commitment is for the coming week. So it's a combination of doing a little bit of research, what kind of jobs you think may be a good fit based upon all this information, and then try and do that one thing in your company this week, incorporating teaching, coaching, mentoring. And then we'll come back next week and talk about it. How's that?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I would love that. I'm actually thinking so much right now, and oh my gosh, my mind is just like running. And I also, I mean, I've had other, are we done? Are we?
No, continue. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I've had so many ideas of things that I would want to do on my own. And hopefully together we can kind of make that something. And I think that with all of the results from the testing and what we just discussed today, I think it could be pretty powerful.
Yeah, this can be very powerful, not only in the workplace, but in your personal life. Because all these skills are transferable, being understanding and empathy is a building block of a family, it's the same thing at work. The key is to, identify what your strengths and weaknesses are, identify what your natural capabilities are. And once you know that, once you start along this road of self-discovery, which we keep talking about, only then can you become enabled and empowered, because now you're empowered by this new information, this new understanding, the self-realization to achieve greater things, not only at work, in finally identifying your professional destiny, becoming the master of your professional destiny, but even more importantly, becoming the master of your own destiny, period, your personal destiny.
Right.
That's how you get to the mountaintop. But you have to take the journey of self-discovery through coaching, and as uncomfortable or sometimes as painful as it can be, because you not only agree or like the answers, but as we say, it is what it is, right?
No, absolutely. And I think that the toughest question for me, honestly, now is, and I'm glad that I have this homework to do, because they'll allow me to do that self-discovery more. But so what do you see yourself doing? And I'm thinking, I know what I'm capable of doing. I know how I like to run things. I know what I wouldn't want in a company. But if I had to really give you an answer as to where do you see yourself working, or I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I need you, Rob, to help me help myself discover that, because I'm kind of like, it's like I'll give you all of the fat, but I can't give you the meat because I have no freaking idea yet. So
Well,
I
the
can't
meat,
wait.
yeah, the meat is actually inside of you. That's the magic of coaching. Is I'm not going to tell you what your profession is. I'm just going to keep asking you questions, taking tests, and at the end of the day, you're going to get to that point of self-realization where you're telling me, hey, Rob, you know what? You facilitated me along this path. I think this is what I want to do. And then we take that to the next step. So once you figure out who you want to be, what you want to do, then that's the advanced phase of executive coaching. And then we can talk about how to find these companies, how to develop a resume, conducting interviews, negotiating contracts. I'll take you all the way to the finish line, but
I'm so
I don't
excited.
think we're at the point where, and you tell me, so I'll ask you the question. Are you at the point now where you're 100% sure that you should look for something else outside of your company? Or do you think there's still an opportunity for you to make adjustments on your own and maybe supercharge your existing position in your existing company?
75% of me really truly believes that I'm not in the right company.
Okay.
But if I had things to work with, I think that I can make the company better.
Good. All right. So we continue to have an open mind. I think the end result is going to surprise you.
I know.
We'll see what happens.
I'm really excited.
Good. All right. Well, thanks a lot for this week. Do your
Thank you.
homework, and
I will, definitely.
we'll continue with the career coaching experience next week. And until then, thank you very much, and everyone be safe.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Thanks, Daniella.
Thank you, Rob.
All
See
right.
you.
Bye-bye.